Check It Out, Carnegie-Stout Public Library's podcast. My name is Sarah, and I'm an adult services librarian here at the library. March 30th will mark the 1-year anniversary of Check It Out, and we'd like to thank everyone who's tuned in over the last year. We invite you, our listeners, to share something you've enjoyed over the last year for our next podcast. Visit the library's new website at carnegiestout.org/podcast to learn how. That's right, the library has a brand new website, so be sure to update your bookmarks to carnegiestout.org. In this month's episode of the podcast, we have information from members of Dubuque's Green Iowa AmeriCorps group who have been partnering with the library on various programs, reading suggestions for Becky for anyone who's been on a long waiting list for some of the current best-selling titles, and we sit down with Kayla of the Dubuque County Library and Troy, Carnegie-Stout's newest children's librarian, as well as a children's specialist at the Platteville Public Library, to talk about what's new and upcoming for local kids at our area libraries. I'm super excited to be here with some of our local Green Iowa AmeriCorps members. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, you've been doing some cool stuff here at the library.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Bridget Ransford, and I'm the Sustainable Operations Coordinator with Green Iowa AmeriCorps.
I'm Cody Sharkey. I'm the Education Coordinator with the Green Iowa AmeriCorps Sustainable Schools Branch.
I'm Rachel Surratt, and I am the Education Coordinator for Green Iowa AmeriCorps Energy and Community Team.
And I'm Bev Wagner. I am the Solid Waste Education Coordinator with the Dubuque Metropolitan Area Solid Waste Agency. And we host the Green Iowa AmeriCorps folks to be part of our education efforts.
And you guys were sharing some of the cool stuff that happened with the 2020 holiday season. You were collecting holiday lights. One of your drop-off points was Carnegie-Stout Public Library, but you had some others throughout the community. And how many pounds of holiday lights did you collect for recycling?
We collected 175 pounds of holiday lights just from the library alone.
Wow.
So then in addition to the library, we had locations at the Public Works Department, the Municipal Services Center, and also at the landfill electronics recycling drop-off area. Between all three locations, it was over 3,000 pounds this year and 1,500 last year.
That's a lot of lights.
That is about the size of an African elephant. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to take the time to talk about some of our upcoming events. On the 21st, Sunday, March 21st, we'll be doing upcycled Marmo moss ball terrariums, and we have 20 spots available for this program throughout that afternoon. So if you're interested, please do call the library at 563-589-4225 to reserve your spot. And Cody, you know a little bit more about an upcoming virtual landfill tour that we're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, so if you'll want to join us for a virtual landfill tour, it's April 27th, and you can register at the library and learn cool stuff about what the landfill does for our community.
Registration for that virtual tour won't start until later this month, so definitely keep your eye on the library's website and calendar. Our new website address is carnegiestout.org. And just a huge thank you to Bev, Bridget, Cody, and Rachel for joining us today to talk a little bit of trash.
Hey everyone, this is Becky again, one of the Adult Services Library aides here at Carnegie-Stout, and I thought I would take a few moments to give you a couple of ideas for your next read. As we all know, waitlists for new releases and bestsellers can be extremely long, so I thought that I would give you some suggestions for read-alike books for some of the bestsellers listed in the Telegraph Herald. The first one is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. The first suggestion is Promise by Minrose Gwynne. Barely surviving an F5 tornado that rips through her 1936 Mississippi hometown, an African-American laundress and great-grandmother searches for her family among the catastrophe's survivors while bonding with the traumatized teen daughter of a despised white judge. The second read-alike suggestion is The Victory Garden by Rhys Bowen. Engaged to an Australian pilot during World War I, Emily volunteers to tend the neglected grounds of a Devonshire estate where she finds inspiration and support in an herbalist's long-forgotten journals. The next book on the bestseller list was The Midnight Library by Matt Hagg. The first read-alike suggestion for this title is The Impossible Lives of Greta Wells. After the death of her beloved twin brother, Felix, and the breakup with her longtime lover, Nathan, Greta Wells embarks on a radical psychiatric treatment to alleviate her suffocating depression. But the treatment has unexpected side effects, and Greta finds herself transported to the lives she might have had if she'd been born in different eras. The second title suggestion for a read-alike is Una Out of Order by Margarita Montamore. As the countdown to the new year begins, soon-to-be 19 Una Lockhart faints and awakens 32 years in the future in her 51-year-old body. And, greeted by a friendly stranger in a beautiful house she's told is her own, Una learns that with each passing year, she will leap to another age at random. The next title on the bestseller list is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, and our first read-alike suggestion is Silver Sparrow by Tayari Jones. In 1980s Atlanta, James Witherspoon is living a double life. He has two families, a public one and a secret one. When the daughters from each family become friends, James' secrets are revealed and lives are changed forever. The other read-alike suggestion is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. 11-year-old Pecola Breedlove, an African-American girl in an America whose love for blonde, blue-eyed children can devastate all others, prays for her eyes to turn blue so that she will be beautiful. People will notice her, and her world will be different. The next book on the bestseller list is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. And our first read-alike suggestion is Fools and Mortals by Bernard Cornwell. The estranged younger brother of William Shakespeare observes the first production of A Midsummer Night's Dream while navigating a high-stakes game of duplicity and betrayal that threatens his acting career, his potential fortune, and the lives of his fellow players. The second read-alike suggestion is Alice I Have Been by Melanie Benjamin. Alice Little Hargreaves' life has been a richly woven tapestry. As a young woman, wife, mother, and widow, she's experienced intense passion, great privilege, and greater tragedy. But as she nears her 81st birthday, she knows that, to the world around her, she is and will always be only Alice. Her life was permanently dog-eared at one fateful moment in her 10th year, the golden summer day she urged a grown-up friend to write down one of his fanciful stories. The last book that I'm going to give read-alikes for on our bestseller list is The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. Our first read-alike suggestion is How to Stop Time by Matt Hagg. A man with a secret rare condition that has enabled him to survive for centuries moves to London to become a high school history teacher and considers defying his protective guardian's rule against falling in love when he becomes entranced by a captivating colleague. Our second read-alike suggestion is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Waging a fierce competition for which they have trained since childhood, circus magicians Celia and Marco unexpectedly fall in love with each other and share a fantastical romance that manifests in fateful ways. All of these suggestions and descriptions of the books are provided by our Novelist Plus database and is something that you can try too if you're ever stuck looking for a good book. You can find fiction and nonfiction books by describing plots or characters, can find series order of books, themed book lists, and author and title read-alikes for all reading levels. You can check it out on our website under Research.
Librarian Sarah here, and I've got a couple of special guests for the podcast. I'm joined by Kayla.
I am the children's librarian at the Dubuque County Library District over in Asbury in the west side of Dubuque County.
As well as Troy, who is our new children's specialist here at Carnegie-Stout, and you work at another library in the area, don't you?
Hi, everybody. I work at the Platteville Public Library as the Youth Services Library Aide there as well.
I thought it might be sort of fun to have a little chit-chat about some of the other local libraries that you can join in for fun and games, especially with everything being pretty much virtual these days. So welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Yeah, it's a very interesting time in youth services, trying to reach people with programming at a time when people are sort of all screened out and sort of trying to limit the amount of screen time that their kids get. So it's a tricky balance of trying to, get books into kids' hands, but also sort of not find them zoning out on their screens and stuff.
Using the children librarian skill set of thinking outside the box a lot this past year.
Yeah.
Kayla, I know you have some really great virtual programs coming up at the county library. In March, there's the great focus on women's history, but I think those deadlines have passed us by now. But what do you have cool happening in April?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a Earth Day party. So that's for all ages. We'll have a little preschool story time and craft section, and then a craft and activity for elementary aged, and then for teens, all about the planet Earth, doing some science. And you can sign up to register to get supplies from the library. Otherwise, if you live outside of our range, or if you sign up after the deadline, which I believe it's usually the third Friday, March 19th, I think it is, you can email me, Kayla Ferguson, and we will send you a list of the craft supplies you need for any of our programs. And it's usually household stuff, popsicle sticks, pipe cleaners, that type of thing that you can get pretty easily.
I bet there'll be some good recycling aspects to it.
Yeah,
too,
we'll try to do stuff like that,
yeah.
Especially with the preschool age group.
Is there a phone number where they can call the county library?
Yes, it's 563-582-0008.
Anything cool happening here or in Platteville for kids in April or late March?
Well, it's a good question, because I'm curious to know what sort of strategies Kayla has, but the strategy here at Carnegie-Stout and as well at the Platteville Public Library is to sort of get people to come into the library. And now that's a little bit different over in Platteville because they're not actually open to the public, but will be opening in the coming weeks.
If
the library,
goes.
The library board has just sort of decided that. But even here at Carnegie-Stout, we've really had these ongoing grab-and-go packets, and maybe, is that something that you have as well, Kayla?
Yeah, we've been doing monthly. We just do it for 1 week. We make about 70 to 100 grab-and-go bags with a couple crafts and some activity sheets to go out every month.
Okay, so that's a much higher number than I think what we've been putting out, but the
that's
demand
splitting
is
between 5 branches, however.
Okay, that
5
makes
locations.
Sense. Yeah, I think that the numbers here are around 20 or 30 packets a week, but yeah, just trying to get people, give people an opportunity to give kids something to do that isn't a screen, and gets them into the library.
Yeah, we've also been trying to do some type of, we're calling them passive programs every month. So for March, we're going to be doing little paper flowers that they can come in, and we'll just have the supplies basically sitting on a table, and they can grab a little packet and do it there at the library. We've been doing every few months. We haven't done it over the winter, but we're going to be doing our next one in May, doing a sidewalk obstacle course with chalk. And we put circles that say do 10 jumping jacks, and then stepping stones that they have to jump from one to the next. And we've been doing different ones, themed ones of those outside the library so the kids can run around and get some exercise and something to do that's not looking at a computer screen.
Sure. So with the idea of a passive activity, did I get the nomenclature right?
Yeah.
Is that in lieu of an organized program where people could sort of be elbow to elbow, which you probably don't want in these days, having something that's sort of ongoing, that people can come and go, and limit exposure, but still be able to be doing sort of a program activity
Yeah, we've been kind of advertising them as social distancing family programs.
Yeah.
Last summer, we did a couple town-wide scavenger hunts. So we contacted local businesses, and then we had clues that we put up in the windows of the businesses, and then families would go around and look for the clues, and then there was some type of passcode that they would get, like a letter from each clue, and then they would enter it into our website at the end, and then we did a drawing for a prize. We're planning on doing a Flat Stanley one this next summer. And it was also promoting, these are your local businesses in your town. A lot of them we tried to do small, locally owned businesses to get people going and seeing, oh, there's this little hair salon here.
Yeah,
and
I imagine many of these places. Yeah, I imagine many of these places are sort of feeling a pinch these days, and so would warmly welcome that sort of. Yeah, we did get feedback like that, really that they liked having people coming by, and we made sure that they didn't have to go into the building if there were problems and restrictions. Sure. And it was something that the whole family could do together. We had a lot of families where we had the adults, the teens, the children, all were going out and doing the loop. We tried to make most of them walkable. Yeah, well, for us here at Carnegie-Stout, we have a few programs outside of the regular Monday and Wednesday 10:30 a.m. story times that we do online. You know, there's also the registration-oriented events that we do, which are usually sort of a webinar format where we send out a Zoom link. Yeah, there's going to be one coming up in April, which is poetry for teens. I'm going to be doing one on balloon sculptures at the end of April. Ooh. And yeah, we're going to make some balloon animals, probably do the traditional wiener dog balloon and maybe some giraffes and work our way into the monkeys and
I'm very good at
rabbits.
Making a snake.
You're very good at which?
Making a snake.
Making a snake, yes.
Yeah. Actually, mentioning poetry, we are going to be doing 2 open mic poetry nights at Dubuque County Library. One's going to be on a Tuesday night and one's going to be on a Saturday afternoon. They'll be virtual. First half hour will be kid friendly, and then after that it'll be open to teens and adults. You can read your favorite poem from another author. You can read a poem you wrote if you want, but that is open to anybody. There is registration on the Dubuque County Library website for that, but it is open to anyone to come who loves poetry.
That sounds great. Yeah. My sons are off school today because it's a snow day where they go to school. And so on their to-do list that they made for themselves for today was to write some poems, which that came right out of the blue for me. I didn't even know they were interested in poetry, but they're 6 and 10 years old. And yeah, it was just like, oh, I'm going to write some poems today. My snow day.
Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah.
How can folks register for the Carnegie-Stout Youth Services programs?
At our Carnegie-Stout website, we have a link for programs and events, and you can go there and see everything that the library has going on. You can also call in. I don't know what the library phone number is.
Oh, that's right, you're very new. The Carnegie-Stout Public Library phone number is 563-589-4225, and just ask for the Youth Services Desk.
Yeah, it's week 2.5 for me.
That's right. Thank you both for joining us. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Check It Out. We hope you'll also enjoy listening to our upcoming special episode featuring a full-length interview with the musicians of Feast of Mutton and next month's 1-year anniversary episode. We welcome listener submissions of your favorite books, movies, music, and more for this and future episodes. Visit carnegiestout.org/podcast to learn more. Thank you to Bev, Bridget, Cody, Rachel, Becky, Kayla, and Troy for their contributions to this episode. Thank you as always to Ben Eagle, who wrote and performed the music for this podcast.